What is shaking? It's been far too long since I've had my next guest on. Always enjoyed talking to him. In fact, I believe the last time I talked to him, he's at Yahoo. Now he's over at ESPN, got the College Game Day podcast, all kinds of good stuff. Dan Wetzel joins the show. Dan, what's going on?
How are you, Tom?
Tremendous.
You look well in your
yourself?
backyard.
Yeah. I feel well. Good. How you feeling?
Not bad. Not in my backyard, but
Look good. So before we get to some of the sports stuff, I got to ask you something because you're always a guy who's ready for an off-topic, fucking kind of conversation, and this struck me today, not in a good way. Is there a bigger gap in the human existence, human condition, human whatever you want to call it, between good and bad than itching? Itching is bliss. It's so satisfying. You feel so good for those 5 to 7 seconds, and you know you're going to be in hell afterwards. And sure enough, you are. Like I'm right now. I'm old enough, Dan, and I'm on medication. I'm going to end up looking like Sissy Spacek at the end of Carrie. I mean, it's going to be really, really nasty, but I still love doing it. Is there a bigger gap there? That's what I want to know.
I think everything in moderation, right? But yeah, I would say this: it is the cure that works immediately and effectively. Now it's temporary.
It's so good.
But
it is. It's so
right
good.
Before the itch, you're dying, or the scratch. Right before the scratch, you're just like, this is just, I can't. Now I'm all now I'm feeling all it. Yeah, it's all mental. Now I got an itch in my back. What did you do
I thought about this. Fair. I thought, well, look, drinking.
See, now I gotta see.
Drinking is similar in that drinking, you're getting like yesterday, St. Patty's, I'm gonna have a good time, but I know I'm gonna pay for it. I know I gotta pay for it at some point if I go overboard. But at least that I have to make an effort. At minimum, I have to put something in my hand and raise it to my mouth. This is just scratching. And as I like to say, Dan, itching is like a good defense. It travels. I could take itching with me anywhere. I can go on a trip. I can go upstairs. I can be in the backyard. If I itch, I just, boom, I'm good to go. And it just, for those 7 seconds, everything else fails to just exist. And then after those 7 seconds, I go, this is not going to be good. This is not the way. I'm sorry. I just can't put the X in it. Just put an X in it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
You want the scratch to last. Yeah.
I want it. I want some 30 grade sandpaper. Get up there and get after it. God damn it.
Really, it's kind of amazing. They haven't really worked on this either. There's the back scratcher, but we have that. That's been around, and they haven't really invented a better mousetrap on the back scratch. So
yeah, and the back scratcher is weak. I mean, it's rounded edges. You don't have the devil claws.
You
want to get in there.
You could get
you want to get in there.
Maybe attachments based on what you got. I mean, there's a lot here. I hadn't really. This is the longest I've thought about itching or scratching in a long time. That's why I love coming on. This is why I miss talking to you, Tom.
Glad I could bring that to your attention. I did want to start out with something you brought to my attention. You didn't write the story, but I retweeted it or whatever they call it. But the guy in Santa Barbara that was a coach and a pimp, which was one of the more fourth state pimp, by the way, not just your local pimp. This guy was fourth state. And I don't know if this is the right question to ask, Dan, but after I read the article, I thought to myself, this guy's got to be the worst coach ever. How can you not recruit? I mean, how could you not recruit? How can you not get players? How is that even possible?
I forgot about the four state.
Fourth state.
I mean, is California not big enough for you? This guy, I guess this would seem very hard to do. I don't know this business. I don't know how to be a pimp, but I would think it'd be very labor intensive. A lot of work, cash business, labor, recruitment, labor retention. You got legal. The customers, not
Got
easy.
legal.
Right? Acquire what is customer acquisition, retention. Those guys, everyone's named John for bookkeeping. Don't keep books. But then to try it in 4 states. So this would seem to be a very industrious person.
Yeah.
Regardless of the ethics, morality, or legality.
Yes.
Very industrious person. And then, like, you'd think Santa Barbara would have been a better team. I think they would be better. Like, if you have someone who's capable of pulling, not a lot is asked of
Bakersfield.
Oh,
Santa
Bakersfield.
Barbara was
I'm sorry.
okay. Bakersfield, yes.
Sorry. Was he running it out of Bakersfield? That was it? The pimp of Bakersfield?
Yes, exactly.
Dude, this is like a Netflix series, right?
Oh,
I gotta
kidding me?
Guy.
It's just like
There's a lot there.
Well, I mean, obviously, wonder how he did both. He didn't do one very well since Bakersfield finished last in I don't even know what it is anymore. Big West, or who knows what conference we're at nowadays. Conference roulette. I kind of lost track of all that. So, but
like,
yeah, that
you
was
hear these stories of the drug. Like, they'll do the movies on the drug dealers or something.
Yep.
And the guys were like making $1 million a day, like running all the drugs in some city or some, back in the day, especially. And you're like, what an absolute incredible operation that this guy who dropped out of school in 9th grade was able to put together. Like, if we could have corralled the sheer business intelligence of organization and all of that and sent him to Wharton, where would we be with this?
Send him to Wharton. Do you think, like, when I'm watching these shows, like I'm watching Narcos, right? And they're talking about all the money that the Escobar's making, and it's like millions upon millions of dollars per day. Yep. And look, obviously, I'm not built that way. I'm not gonna be a drug dealer anytime soon. But if it were me, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna work a month and I'm out. You guys go ahead and take it over, make all the billions you want. I'll make about 500 million, and then I'm done. I'm gonna go off to Europe. I'm gonna do what I do, but I don't need this where I know I'm gonna die at some point. Just get me in for a quick taste. Get me in for a quick hitter, and then I'll take off, and you guys can take over the business. Like,
absolutely. And buy a bunch of laundromats and car washes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's the one more hit. Yeah, I don't know what are they doing. I think that's really where it goes. Maybe we could become consultants to that's really where the money is. Get out. They try to do that in The Wire. In the great show The Wire. Stringer Bell tries to go legit. That didn't work out for him. He ends up dead in his condo development. And then they try to get Marlo Stansfield to be, but that doesn't work. He can't deal with it. So maybe it just can't be done. But I agree. I've always sat there and be like, man, if I could have gotten in on one, imagine just driving like one truck across the border and getting like 30 million and being like, done, hide out. But probably a lot of them do it, and we just don't know about those guys. I don't know. Yeah. Fascinating.
I don't know. Just get me in on a nice PCP IPO. Okay. That's what I'm looking at. Just get me in, and I'll carry the Sherm sticks for you, and I'll get them out there. I'll distribute them, because who doesn't like seeing guys, rip apart handcuffs? I love the old PCP Sherm stick stories. But get me in, get me out. You won't even know I was there, and we're done. You'll never see me again. I'll take my 50 million. That's it. I'm good. We're done. Move on. But
they get busted for stupid stuff too. They like the whole operation comes down because like there's like a, your mule is driving a truck and they forgot to put the license plate on, or I covered a story once when I did a lot of news and crime, and these guys they stopped at like a just like a regular hotel, like a Red Roof Inn, I think it was, and they had all this money that they were currying. And they got scared to leave it in the trunk. So they carried like 7 hockey bags worth of cash in, which the lady at the front desk, whereas this was not a hockey team, had her suspicions. And the entire end, I remember this story, bro. I'm getting some of the details wrong, but that was about it. And the entire operation, like 73 people wound up arrested, all because these guys just couldn't leave it in the trunk.
God, you got to hire correctly. Okay. You got to pay a little bit more. It's okay. Don't cut corners. Hire smart people.
Yeah.
And
a lot of luggage for one night stay here at the Red Roof Inn off the side of I-75. But oh well.
Now I wonder, in one of those hockey bags was Jack Hughes gold medal winning goal.
The puck was
yeah,
there.
the puck, exactly. The puck, because he wants it. It's in the Hall of Fame. I was going to ask you, like, I would think he probably deserves it. He scored it, but it'd be nice to share it with everybody that can come in. Although it's a puck, you could I could go to Big Five and get a puck and stick it in there and tell you it's like the gold. This is you'd buy it. You wouldn't know any better. Where do you stand on this? Is it he scored it? Is it his puck, or is it Team USA's and it needs to be shared?
Well, I don't think he paid for the puck. Did he bring his own pucks? I think
I doubt he did. I don't think he did.
So I respect that he's the one who shot it in. I think that he has the stick and he has the gloves or whatever. I mean, those were probably issued by USA Hockey. I would think the Olympics own the puck. I mean,
sorry, Jack.
If we're going to go straight, ownership, if it's going to become a legal case in terms of who deserves to have the puck, I guess he does, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Wouldn't that be the place to put it?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so.
You know where the Hockey Hall of Fame is? Toronto. You're taunting the Canadians with your puck. Now it could go in his big, in the whatever. I'm sure he has a trophy room at his mansion in New Jersey, and it could go in there. Yeah. But I would think having that thing sit there in Toronto, just staring at all these poor Canadians that are walking by, I think that's fantastic.
It occurred to me last night after watching Venezuela beat USA in the WBC final that we're a hockey nation now. Mm-hmm. No longer a baseball nation. We're a hockey nation. We win hockey. We got hockey, men's and women's, and we lose this. I love the event. It's so much fun. The passion is there. Is there any way to get it to where it could be the equal of hockey? I don't think there is. I don't think guys care enough. I don't know if the schedule works. But boy, I'm thinking to myself, if they had pitchers who were stretched out a little bit, Skeens could go 7 or 8, Scooble could go 7 or 8, a guy like DeGrom if he were ever healthy again. But I mean, those type of guys where you're like, these are our best. I don't know if we could ever have the best in the WBC. Can we? Because it's a really fun event.
I would think the only way would be how long was the event? 3 weeks? Not quite. Whatever. You got to
about that.
Do it in June or July. You got to do, I mean, these guys are warming up. Their pitchers aren't going to be able to go that long at this time of year. And so that's the challenge. And that's been the challenge with the hockey and why when they do play in the Olympics, it gets so exciting because it's mid-season and everyone is in form. And I've covered the Olympics when they had them, when they had the pros and when they don't. And it's not even close to as exciting. But they're going full boat. It's not even basketball in the summer, which they certainly get into game shape and all of that. But these guys are straight off right in the middle of their season. So I think you'd have to go in season. You'd have to then maybe shorten the season or just play without those guys. I don't know. I'm not sure that would work. But I don't know. I'm not really sure if that would probably be the only way. Then you could get the guys.
Yeah, GMs ain't going for that. They don't even like them playing in spring training. They're not going to like them playing during the middle of the season. I do want to
get hurt in hockey too now. Like last year.
Oh yeah,
they had the 4 nations, and I think they're going to bring that back as sort of the all-star game, which is more exciting. And I think they're going to do something with 8 countries this time. But Charlie McAvoy, who was one of the big stars for Team USA. And is a Boston Bruin. He got hurt and was gone the rest of the season. So it's a lot to ask for a team because these guys are playing. And so if I don't want to say their names because I don't want to put it out there, but one of these pitchers they can get any pitch. You're
Yeah.
injured. It's devastating for everyone involved. But
I mean,
then
you look at
again,
the
the
hockey.
excitement's awesome.
Look at the hockey. Crosby goes out.
Yeah.
Rantanen goes out. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know Draisaitl's out the rest of the year. That happened in season, but who knows how much of that is playing extra hockey and extra meaningful hockey, what kind of toll that has on the body. I don't know. But look, it means that much to the players. They put it in the collective bargaining agreement. They want to play in these type of events. It means that much to them. So the teams are just going to have to go along with it. Even though if I own a team, I don't want my guy necessarily playing. It's like they don't pay you. I pay you. We're
Right.
getting ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you're hurt now? That doesn't do me any good whatsoever. Anyway, I do want to get to the tourney, but you mentioned the season and shortening the season a little bit. My guy Steve Kerr has talked over and over the last few weeks about shortening the NBA season to 72 games, and I tend to agree with him. I think it'd be a better product. I think the games could be a little bit bigger, be marketed differently. I don't know if anybody's willing to give back 10 games worth of revenue, owners, players, anybody, broadcast partners. I mean, is there any way to work around this that like 82 is just too much now, and maybe even 162 is too much, that by shortening the season, not only guys can practice, they can be better, the product will be better, but it'll seem a little bit bigger with the scarcity of games maybe.
Well, that's the advantage that football has, is the scarcity of product, right? So even as they have gone to 17 games and now they're playing virtually every day, which I think there's a breaking point on this, and they may have already broken it. But I think the question to me is, would that mean coaching staffs would play their guys all 72 games, or does it just mean they load manage down another bump? Because you can, how low do you need to go where people think there's an advantage? Because if the guys aren't all going to play, I think it's a huge issue with the NBA, and it is,
no doubt.
When you're buying a ticket. This happened to us a couple of years ago, and not like this is some big tragedy, but like my daughter was a big Kawhi Leonard fan, and Toronto came to town, and we went and bought we were going to go. Well, we would have probably gone anyway. We had fun anyway, but Kawhi Leonard sitting, and I live in Detroit, and actually for years it was a problem for Detroit people in Detroit. The Golden State would come. You were never getting both. You were not going to get Draymond, Steph, and KD playing in Detroit.
Yeah.
One of them was sitting. Because you could beat them anyway. So you have a bad team and you're like, okay, but at least I'm going to get to see these guys, and you don't get to see them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why am I buying a ticket? Why am I investing the time? And then you have the tanking, which for a long time you have the guys sit for the tanking, which isn't good. But then lately, at least I think they're trying to do their best. But it was certainly happening with Utah this year. They were tanking in the middle of the game. Like they get the lead.
Yes, they were.
They played Orlando. I can't remember the stat. They took their top 3 scorers out. So you're literally at the game. And in the middle of, like, you at least have that. Like, okay, we're tanking, and I get it. You don't look at, shut this guy down, or we're playing for a little better draft. Fine. But once the game began, you had competition. And then in the middle of the game, they're like, no, we're going to try to lose now. What am I watching? And then you've got these guys and all their like prop bets, and you're like, and it's all of it together seeps into your mind as a fan. And you're like, did he not get that rebound because he just didn't get that rebound? Or does his, Uncle Joey got, $5K on the first half under? What am I watching? And I don't know how you solve all that, but to me, basketball is the be the most problematic on it. Although we've seen baseball with the pitches, be a problem too, because that's just absurd. First pitch, I mean, some of the sports wagering, and I'm in favor of sport. I'm in favor of individual like liberties and all that. So like have at it, but man, it comes with you got to be a skeptic when you're watching sports these days.
Yeah. I think, Dan, what they need to do for basketball is you can bet the player props They just got to get rid of the unders. Everything you bet an over or you don't bet it at all. And then I'm not sure what to do. I didn't even know the pitcher props existed, like first pitch, ball, or strike. I mean, they got one of the premier closers, Clase. This guy's got dinged. He's going to be out of baseball. I mean, you go back and watch those pitches, and it's like, bro, if you give your buddies some money if they want money. Why are you risking like your contract and your career to spike a slider 30 times? Yeah, it's just, no, I agree with you. It's there's going to be others that get caught because they think they can. You can't. They're going to find you at some point. And the thing that people don't understand about gambling is, look, it used to be just totals and the game, and then first half stuff like that. But nobody wants to bet that because you got to bet. Let's say you wanted to win $200.
Yeah,
you got to bet $200. Everybody nowadays wants to bet $5 to win $4,000. They want
Powerball.
They want the lottery payoff. So how do you do that? You do in-game prop bets. You do these micro bets that people have. You do these in-game parlays. That's how you do it, and that's how they're hooking all these. That's why they give you like, hey, bet $5, win or lose, we'll give you $200. You know why they're going to give you $200?
First hit free.
Yeah, because you're going to lose that, and then you're going to lose more. They know all this stuff. But basketball, get rid of the unders. Because that should never be a part. I should never go to a game, Dan, where I'm like, huh. Like, I know the team's tanking. Is the player tanking too?
Yeah.
That's where you run into some issues. But I'm with you. Like, I've gambled pretty much my whole damn life, and I think that you should be able to do what you want. You should be able to gamble, but the leagues, it doesn't help either that everybody's like, well, look, the leagues are in bed with the FanDuels and DraftKings. They're not going to do anything. That look isn't great either, but look, it is what it is. It is. It is what it is. So
yeah, we're
let's get to the
very upset, but promo code NBA tonight, promo code Adam Silver.
This is something I don't know if you talked about it or not. You were going to talk about it, I think, on the podcast. I don't know if you got to it. Is NIL ruining the underdog's chances in the NCAA tournament? And we're at a pretty small sample size, I think, early on. But where are you at with this? I know there was a lot fewer last year. We'll see how it goes this year. I think the NIL's made the product better. I think some kids stay in school that maybe should stay in school, and now it entices them to stay in school. I never really thought about the NCAA tournament, though, and what it means for Cinderella. What do you think about that?
Well, we'll have to see. It was 1 year. The sample size was last year. Nothing happened. Well, okay. We've also seen, Final Fours with Florida Atlantic played at San Diego State in a Final Four once, like 20 years ago. When was the first one that broke through? George Mason. Maybe.
George Mason. I remember VCU went from first four to Final Four.
Them. Butler obviously went with Brad
Butler
Stevens
did a couple times.
Yeah, it was so rare. And even I think when you were playing, how rare was those big upsets? And then they kind of became more commonplace because with the guys going pro right out of high school, you took your LeBron Jameses and your guys like that right out of the ball, and then the one and done. You could have this scrappy team that were a bunch of 22-year-olds, and they'd be playing a bunch of 19-year-olds to maybe have a chance. So there are ebbs and flows to this thing. I'm not that worried about it. The point spreads are bigger between them. I think you have more teams that can win the national title, more programs that can win the national title. I don't know about teams this year, but programs are capable of winning the title than in the past. And so you can jump up there. We also have some power programs that you never would have had before. Houston, Iowa State, places like that. You just weren't going to have. So there's maybe more programs that can win it. And there's better, you said better players. I think like 3 of the top 10 Ken Palm teams of all time are in this tournament for what it's worth. So you're putting up some big numbers, but is that a bad thing or not? Everybody with NIL, this is my thing, and you would know this quite well. Everyone's like, oh my God, this has happened. Look how bad it is. We got to go back to the old way. Like, do we want
Yeah.
to go back to when shoe companies determined where the players went?
Yeah,
Was that
exactly.
just because it was
No.
under the table? Like, is that what we were going for? Because that's what happened.
Yeah.
We had guys getting arrested. We had last night. We had Will Wade at NC State,
Yeah.
who used to be at
Yes, we
LSU,
did.
and Sean Miller at Texas, who used to be at Arizona. Both were
Yep.
on an FBI wiretap talking about
they
paying
were.
players. But NIL is the problem.
It is.
So the good old days weren't always the good old days. Let's just, do that. They used to be like, well, this is a blue blood program. Blue blood program meant Nike or Adidas was paying for your recruits. That's pretty much what blue blood program meant.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So I'm fine with other schools being able to jump in there. BYU saying, hey, we're gonna pay for this AJ DeBanza kid and we're gonna get the best player. Fine. Who cares? He was gonna go somewhere. Why not spread it out? So I don't see the major problem, but does it hurt? We'll see. Maybe these top 3 and 4 seeds are much better now than the teams that might pull those big upsets.
I would like to have something collectively bargained between the players and the NCAA or the universities. It's just so hard. But where guys stay a couple years, where they've signed 2-year contracts, and I just don't think it's healthy having guys go in the portal 3 times in 3 years or 4 times in 4 years. And to be honest, I mean, this doesn't keep me up at night, but I'm pretty sure the people that are handling those kids don't have their best interests at heart. Hey, let's get the most money for 4 years. We'll make some money and we'll see what happens after that. Like, I don't think that helps development, but whatever. But I would like to see the universities and the kids like be able to sign 2-year, like, okay, look, this is going to be like a coach's contract. You want to get out of it? Cool. You give us $500,000 back. You can go wherever you want to, but you're going to be here for a couple years. Other than that, I don't really have I think it's been better. And I'm with you. People that think the good old days were good, they weren't. Trust me. I played in the good old days. These days are better. And this last couple years in particular has been really fun basketball to watch, because I was almost out on college basketball for a while. I was like watching it going, I could go to the park and watch this. What am I watching it on my TV for? Not so much anymore. So, but I wouldn't mind seeing some collective bargaining going on, Dan.
Yeah, I think that option of being able to sign a kid for multi-year, the problem is, can you keep them, or is there just always going to be a bid that goes over? But because I do think it's better for fans if you have some continuity. I mean, it's just the way the sport, it's not that this can't work, but Michigan has 5 new players, 4 transfer. Their starting 5 is 4 transfers and a recruit. Would you like to have that stick around a little bit? But, one thing about the portal, at least a third of the kids are getting kicked off their team. A third are moving up. And those are the ones that I really appreciate. You take this kid, Bennett Sturts, who plays for Iowa.
Yep.
He grew up in Missouri, outside Kansas City, and he was a first team All-State player, didn't get one Division I offer. And he literally thought, I'm not any good. Like, these college coaches do not like me. I'm just not that good. Goes to Northwest Missouri with Bob McCollum and has 2 good years. And McCollum had won 4 national titles at Northwest Missouri State. He averages like 15.6 a game as a sophomore. McCollum takes the job at Drake. Bennett Sturts goes with him. He's the Missouri Valley Player of the Year last year, takes Drake to the second round of the tournament. McCollum goes to Iowa. Now Bennett Sturts at Iowa. He's first team all Big Ten. He's 20-point game scorer, and they're in the NCAA tournament again. I love stories like that the portal has allowed, just because everyone got the kid wrong when he was 17, 16. And you know how recruiting works. You almost have to be great at 13 and 14, and you get on the right AAU team, or you get on this, you get the right exposure. He kept working. He's proven to be better. I love that option. So a third of them are like that. They're moving up. A third are moving down. They're either getting booted off, or maybe they want to play. That's another thing. Like, you can be the 9th guy on Duke. You're not getting in the games, or you can go, you know what? I'm going to go play at wherever. whether it's even some like a Syracuse or let alone a bad team in the ACC or some like I'm gonna go to McNeese State and get my playing time. Now there's the other third that are just screwing around. There's no question, and they got agents, and but I do feel still the majority have a good reason, and I think there's something to be said, and there's some great value to staying at one place and making those alumni contacts and being that guy and developing. But there's also something to be said about, you know what? I got 4 years. I'm not going to be a pro. I want to go play. If that means I got to drop down a level or find a coach that really believes in me or someone who needs my role, I'm going to go do it. So my big thing, because you guys would get recruited over, right? The level you played at.
Yeah.
If a guy wasn't good enough, right? Arizona, they just recruit another dude. They're watching that first practice, and Luke's going out and going, I need a 2-guard. That guy's not going to make it, and he's got to sit. Well, that's kind of stinks too. So my biggest problem with college sports discussion right now is there's a lot of old coaches and ADs and stuff that just say, I don't like this, or this is the best way. You must go one place and be there for 4 years. And it's like, well, there's other ways, man. Like, I don't know. That's a good way. So maybe is this. Maybe Bennett Sturts is the good way.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, you're right. I mean, I went
tricky.
I went to Irvine. I started my career at Irvine. Then went to Cerritos Junior College, and then went to Arizona. So I bounced around.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
I bounced around a little bit. So I appreciate guys like Sturts, guys that, just don't mature at the same rate as everybody else, or didn't find the coach that used them the right way. And then once he got his confidence, he's like, oh, shit, I can play. Right. Like that's such a huge deal when a player realizes I can play at this level. I can get out there and So it took him a little while, but no, I agree with you. That's a fun story. And I'm with you. Like there's part of me, and I always tell people, like, look, I'm 60. I'm going to be on the porch occasionally. You got to give me like your turn's coming. If you're younger than me, you're going to be on the porch. Everybody gets their turn on the porch, and then you die, and somebody else comes on the porch. But I'm not the guy on the porch that says my way is the only way.
Right.
There may be ways I look at and say, like basketball, for instance, NBA, too many 3-pointers. Like, can we use all the court, please? Can we do it? Does it always have to be 3 or layups or? But I still watch the games and I still like it. But that's me, kind of like, I'm going to get on the porch here and say that when I played basketball, I appreciate it because guys were more diverse in how they scored and what they did. Now, if you're going to tell me, well, they didn't have to run that far because nobody could shoot from 25 feet. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So you got to be willing to
analytics has done that to sports. Like, so I was a much bigger baseball fan when pitchers went 8-9 innings. And that was always it was like, Clemens is on the hill tonight. It's a playoff
Clemens
game.
versus Stewart in the playoffs, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh
like those types of things. Randy Johnson or whatever it was, right? And you were jacked up to see the pitching matchup. And now it's like, the guy went 2 1/3 and they're all cheering. Like, great job, man. And analytics in baseball, it's clearly a better way to win. I'm not going to argue the numbers, but it's not as much fun to watch for me. And that's okay. And I'm not going to tell everyone, how could you watch baseball? Go ahead, watch baseball if you want it. It's not as exciting for me. And so I kind of agree with you on that.
No, this is something that you'd be the perfect guy to discuss it with. Not now because it'd take too long to really get into it. But I've said this for the past couple years. Because if I'm running a team, I want to win. I don't give a shit about entertainment. I want to win the basketball or the baseball game. I like checks. I like when they come to my house or direct deposit. I like those things. I like keeping my job. It's a fun job to have. So I don't really care if I'm entertaining you or not. But I've talked about this, baseball and basketball specifically. Does analytics and efficiency get in the way of entertainment? You've answered, you think it, I think it does, but we're of the age where we remember the game being played maybe a little bit different way. I don't know if young people watching the game today feel like it's not as entertaining as it used to be, but I do feel like sometimes they're ruthlessly efficient with their analytics And I get it. I would do the same thing, but everybody does. That's why the NBA, I bring it up. What's the offense? I don't know. Let's run high pick and roll and everybody go stand behind the line. That is basically the offense most NBA teams run. And for me, who grew up playing in a different era, that's not that appealing to me. Baseball, I'm with you. Can we get the pitcher to go 6 innings without like giving him a fucking bronze statue for going 6 innings?
I mean, they pull guys during no hitters. Like that's crazy. Like it's like wow.
Yes.
Like you go to the ballpark and you never know what's going to happen, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, you might see a no hitter like that.
No, you won't.
Is there anything better for a fan to just be like, I was there the night that there was a no hitter, a perfect game, or Roger Clemens struck out 20 or something like those are the historic moments. And now it's like, yeah, he's struck out 16 of 18 batters. He's sitting, and you're like, damn, you know, like so. It's just different. It's
different.
Just different.
And the thing, Dan, it starts in the 7th inning where they're like, I don't know, the pitch count. Not sure if he's going to be able to make the finish line. So they already plan it in your head. Like in the 7th inning, like, oh, great. We got a no-hitter, but we're not going to be able to see it because he's at 101 pitches and his arm might just fall off. Right there on the mound, his arm might fall off, which I'll be fine with. Like, if I could see a no-hitter and arm fall off, 50-50. All right, before I let you run, who are you liking in the tourney? Are there any upsets? Because I'm trying to find some. I always try to find a few upsets. Like, I think I'm going with Arizona, of course, not just as a homer pick, but I think they're really good. They're really big. And I like Bradley as a senior point guard who can lead the teams. Anyway, but are there any teams out there you look at and say, nah, that could be a team that could get to the Sweet 16 that people might not suspect?
Yeah, so the way I look at this thing is like, if you want to pick against the 1 seeds this year more than ever, like go ahead, but there's really not a good reason. There's not a good reason, particularly Duke, Michigan, and Florida has been they've gotten it together. But like you're going to sit there and pick against Duke and Arizona and even Michigan. You're guessing. These guys have proven to be. They've been ruthless this year. They've been fantastic this year, and so the idea that it ends up being Duke and Arizona in the finals would be fine. I saw a couple teams that I think were underseeded or overseeded. St. Louis is one. Yep. They had a really good season in the Atlantic 10, got knocked out a little early in the A10 tournament, ended up a 9 seed. I think they're probably a little better than that. And then a 5 seed that I have questions about is Texas Tech, because when they lost JT Toppin, their star player, they've been 3-3 since. Yep. They're still a 5 seed because they were dominant before, but what are they with Toppin? So, those are a couple ones that I think you could look at and be like, hey, are those the right seeds? And that's sometimes what I look at. UCLA is playing a lot better now also. They're just having to go against a UCF team that's very good too. So, but there's different bits. It used to be, they used to put added value on the final 10 games of the season. If you remember that, last 10 was a big one of their criteria. They got rid of that, I think, in part to encourage early season games, better scheduling, which college basketball has done a great job of that.
Yes.
And it's more compelling. It used to be really bad in November. Everyone was Jim Boeheim. Like you didn't even know is that really a school? Is that accredited?
Accredited.
It's like Ed's tractor trailer driving school of Central, which is very important. We need our drivers, but maybe not the best basketball program. But I actually look now at certain teams and say, look, they weren't that good. And that's South Florida too. South Florida is like 19-3, and their 3 losses are by 5 points. Their last 22 games, 19-3. Now, when you have so much transferring, it can take a month or two to get your team together. And the guys start playing together. You got your lineup. You got it figured out. I actually think the last 10 is more important than ever, because you may be gelling. Then you lost. You had some bad losses in November. Well, you guys are just meeting each other. So better than anyone. Like there's a time you talked about a player figuring out they're good. When a team figures out they're good, it can be a huge thing. So those are one. South Florida and St. Louis maybe with victories, and I wonder about Texas Tech. And what they're going to do. And I forget.
You mentioned UCLA. I mean, I never root for UCLA just because I grew up in LA and I was neither a UCLA or a USC guy, and then I went to Arizona. So it's easy to root against UCLA, but I do root for one thing. I just root for a Mick Cronin flame out. And he usually delivers in stunning fashion. Like
crash out by Nick.
Oh God. I mean, you want to talk about a bitter dude. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I love Mick. He really isn't, except he's gotten bitter. He's like an old man sending soup back at the restaurant. You'd have no idea that Mick Cronin is being paid millions of dollars to coach basketball in LA, right? Pretty good deal you got going. Well, the funny part is they shipped him. He's complained all year about the travel, which I get. The Pac-12 breakup is just terrible for basketball.
It is.
Football, but football, at least it's once a week, it's a few games and you charter and all that. He hates the times and he hates the travel. And what do? They send him to Philadelphia. I mean,
exactly.
I think it was for like the NCAA's like, let's see if this guy will crash out again. Let's see how can we I don't know the game time. They should have done it at like noon Eastern too, so the clock would have been on me. Just to see if we can screw with Mick.
Let's see if we can make his head explode.
Hey Mick, how's Philly? Like man, in Kansas City or something like Philadelphia.
Oh, it's funny because you mentioned that he was on travel over and over, and he's not wrong. It just got after a while, it's like okay, we get your point. But hell, Tommy Lloyd, when he was at the Big 12 tournament, he goes, I didn't ask to join this conference. Wasn't like I said, hey, everybody, let's go to the Big 12. I was put here. So,
I get it. Quick, it's like Wednesday night in West Lafayette and 10 o'clock. Mick's like, what am I doing? It's a snowstorm. I'm trying to coach UCLA here. This isn't. I feel for him.
All right, this just popped into my head because I got to ask you, when's the last time Detroit sports across the board
have been good?
Has been this good?
It's been a long time. So I didn't grow up here, but I've lived here a while and I raised kids here. Still am, but for a long stretch they had nothing. Nobody was good. There was, I think, I had it. I actually have these stats because I was actually doing something on this. So Little Caesars Arena, which opened in 2017, has never seen a home team win a playoff series. There was a long stretch where I think from 2014 to like 2021, neither the Pistons, Red Wings, or Tigers made the playoffs. Everyone's heard how bad the Lions are, and then they got good. And it's possible all four make it. Tigers obviously have high hopes. They got Skubal and they got Verlander back. The Pistons are really good, and then the Lions hopefully are better, I guess, for them next year. But it's been weird, and the way the city's set up, they built all the stadiums pretty much right next to each other, so you can have these times when you could have like a Tiger home game and then a Red Wing playoff game going on basically across the street or kitty corner. So it becomes a big thing because the stadiums are all kind of in a district. It's a little like Philadelphia, but Philadelphia has them all kind of in one spot, but they're not downtown. So it's good for Detroit.
Well, unfortunately, I looked it up right before you came on. UCLA 425, so it's like that's West Coast. I think it's a 725 start. That's a shame.
Yeah, we could have done better.
I like your idea. That'd have been so good.
Philadelphia. What's the furthest east we can get? I was like, do we have one in Boston this year? No.
No.
All right, Philly.
That would have been so
Buffalo
good.
now too far west.
Oh my goodness gracious. Dan, it's been far too long. Hopefully we can do it again at some point because it's so much fun. So much fun talking to you. I'm sorry we started out with itching. So if you find yourself doing this the rest of the day, then go ahead and blame me.
Congrats on this new venture. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, anytime you can do a show from your backyard, it's a good day.
They say it's work, but I'm not believing it. So
no, I ain't buying it either. Don't buy it. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it,
Thanks,
man. You're the best. Dan, I love talking to Dan. He's so good, so funny. ESPN, make sure you read his stuff and listen to his podcast. You know who he reminds me of a little bit is Ray. Him and when we used to get those two on together, that was something. Yeah, Ray Ratto and Dan Wetzel on together. That was like that wasn't gold. It was whatever it was like. It's like gold, like gold that go 3 times gold, 4 times gold, 5 times gold. I don't know. Platinum, titanium, copper. I guess they're stealing a lot of copper. So maybe copper is more valuable. I don't know. But yeah, I saw him during the show, kind of doing I felt bad too, because once you like put that in someone's head, like the itch, it's like it's tough. I hate it. I mean, I don't know what's going on. So I got like it's the same spots too, but itching shouldn't feel as good as it does. It just shouldn't. Nah, it's coming. It's coming, Steve. That same shirt interview is on its way. Talked to Jay Bilas yesterday. So it was nice. Like I said, nice little day. Nice little week this week. Randy Bennett, Tommy Lloyd, Steve Kerr, Dan Wetzel, Jay Bilas. I should let everybody know, too, by the way. Show's brought to you by Fieldwork, the official non-alcoholic craft beer of your San Jose Sharks, who went down last night 5-3. Although they were down 3-1, clawed back in the second, tied it up at 3, and then went down 5-3 in the third, and then ultimately that was the final 5-3. So the official non-alcoholic beer, non-alcohol. The official non-alcoholic craft beer of your San Jose Sharks. And you can grab one of these bad boys too. That's a fully leaded beer, which they have down there. It's not just a non-alcoholic. You can get yourself a Toffoli time. That's a pretty sweet can right there. Now, there will be no 50% off today. Toffoli neither scored nor assisted last night, so you're paying full freight today. But what you do get is delicious Fieldwork brews, non-alcoholic brews. You get pulp. You can get. I'm not sure if Hazy Trend. I should look to see what they have on tap right now, because they're always changing. They've made like over 300 beers, maybe over 400 beers since Fieldworks' inception. That used to drive me nuts. I'd find a beer that I really liked. I'd go back in there and it was gone. Excuse me. Where'd the beer go? Yeah, that one's off for a while. So in the last probably 2 or 3 years, most craft places have a flagship or 2 or 3. Like Pulp is Fieldworks' flagship. That one I think is available year round. And they may have a couple others, but they're always rotating. They're always changing. I'm not sure. I think Lester over at Bear Bottle has a couple that are always changing. Obviously, Vinny at Russian River, they have Pliny and they have Blind Pig, and they have a bunch of them. They don't have that many beers, but they have a lot of different varieties of beers. I'm gonna have to open a beer. I got a beer from. I should probably call Vinny and ask him about this. Can I still drink this beer? It's like 5 years old, but it's been in the garage. So it's been in a cool area. It's been dark, and it's what kind of beer? I'll have to look to see what kind of beer it is. But it's one that does hold. So I'm gonna have to. But 5 might be pushing it. Take it out and kill everybody. Oops. And so anyway, yeah, you're getting the repeat tea. Everybody's like waiting for the repeat tea. You're gonna get it in a couple seconds here. And so I'm gonna give you a couple. I like Arizona to win the whole thing. Shocker. Of course I'm gonna like Arizona to win the whole thing. Unfortunately, I wish Arkansas or Wisconsin were in different brackets, because I kind of like them too. to come out of a bracket, but not anymore. So let me give you a couple plays that I think I like. By the way, I did communicate with Dr. Bob. He did send me a few picks. He likes Lehigh tonight. So Lehigh, give you a little first four action. I think he released it at 2.5, but said it's good at 3.5. If you want to try it, go ahead and give it a shot. But Lehigh was a play tonight. Tomorrow, some of the plays were, I think he liked Louisville, Wisconsin over High Point. That seems to be a trendy upset pick too. High Point. He likes Wisconsin. He likes the other side. I kind of like Hawaii, Arkansas over. I mean, that should be a high scoring affair. St. Mary's, I kind of want to take them, but that's 3.5 now. That was 2.5. Now it's 3.5. So St. Mary's getting money. I might take Pennsylvania plus 25.5. Illinois' D is not good. They can score though. There's just some monster spreads. Arizona's laying 31. I want to take Santa Clara. I can't now. Santa Clara was getting 4, 4.5. Now it's 2.5, 3. I'm not recommending it. I still might. If it goes back to 3, 3.5, I might take the Broncos. Might take the Fighting Newsoms. So that's about it. I don't want to just keep throwing games out there because I'm going to probably bet a few of them, but you guys don't need to lose your money on games that I'm going to wager on. So hope everybody has a great Thursday and Friday. Tourney's it always delivers. There's too much inventory for it not to deliver. There's just so many games, and you get them all. You guys don't remember some of you might who are my age. Remember when ESPN had the tourney and they had to wait until one game ended to go to another game and they jump back and forth? What an archaic system. Although for us, it was like, oh, this is incredible. We get to watch some of these endings. Awesome. This is great. Now, all the games are on. Every game's on. At your disposal. True TV. I still remember the Harmony would blush. I still remember when True TV had its first game. I think the lead-in or after one of the games was like a Johnny Cochran show. I was like, what are we doing? We got the NCAA tournament followed by Johnny Cochran's courtroom bonanza. Johnny Cochran in the NCAA tournament. What a great place. What a great country. You got to love it. And so, yeah, I mean, you get all the games now. CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV. So I'm going to be enjoying them. I hope you are too. So I'm going to get out, but we've still got the Jay Bilas interview. So we're going to play the Jay Bilas interview, and that's where you're going to go, whoa. How did he change so quick? And why does he have a St. Patty's Day shirt on when clearly it's not St. Patty's Day anymore? Well, it was yesterday. We recorded it, and we're playing it for you now. Okay, I'm not going to play, what was it, the Canyon Wren sound? I'm not piping bird sounds into my golf tournament and then not telling you. You remember that story? Or the announcers at a golf tournament would say, I think he has a good chance of making this one. And then he'd make it. You're like, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Well, yeah, you've done that too many times now for that to be a coincidence. And it wasn't a coincidence. They knew it was going in. Of course, when they show you somebody 9 shots back of the leader on Sunday, you know something good's going to happen. There's no reason to show that guy. Wow, he's 70 feet away. Why are they showing this? He's not even close. Because he's going to make it. That's why they're showing it to you. Is that a Canyon Wren in the background? There's no fucking Canyon Wrens in this part of the country. Anyway, I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm just enjoying the backyard, enjoying the weather, and hopefully you will enjoy my good friend Jay Bilas talking some college hoops, NCAA tourney. Enjoy, Jay. Enjoy the shirt that I wore yesterday. See you. What is shaking, everybody? It is that time of year. It's March Madness time. And when you think March Madness, you think of one person and one person only. Well, I do. Jay Bilas. I want to find out what Jay has going on for March Madness, see who he's picking this year. And it's our once-a-year visit. I'm going to do it more often. I enjoy talking to Jay so much, but I know he's busy. Don't want to bother him. Jay, what's going on?
Not much, Tom. How you doing, brother? Everything good?
Tremendous. Now, last time you were on, we had our serial killer bracket. I'm not sure.
I was just thinking about. I do remember that. I texted Kerr right afterwards and said Tolbert's lost it.
Now the problem with the serial killer bracket is there's really nowhere to go. Like, I boxed myself in because if you want to go dictators, I mean, you're going to get Stalin versus fucking Hitler in the finals. I mean, look, Pol Pot can be gritty, right? He can be feisty as a lower seed. Hitler's going to get him eventually. So I was like, I should have started lower and built up, but I don't know. I just figured I'd retire after serial killers because I boxed myself in.
Yeah, it's no fun picking sleepers in that category either.
It really isn't. I mean, look, as much as I like Pol Pot, it's just his ceiling's only so high, Jay. Here's what I've noticed. Now, I haven't watched a ton of college basketball, but I've watched over the last couple months. Size is back. Arizona, size. Florida, size. Duke has size. I mean, when did this trend kind of start shifting to where teams are going away from the 5 out or 4 out, 1 in to, like, let's just start bludgeoning some people?
Yeah, I mean, I think teams want to have size. It's hard to get guys big guys that are going to be spreading the floor and shooting it. That's still rare. It's certainly not as rare in the NBA because that's the highest level. But, it always kind of makes me laugh how these narratives take over in basketball. It's never just one thing, especially in college. But, like, I don't know, was it 3 years ago that Florida Atlantic and San Diego State made the Final Four? And everybody said, well, the world is flat now. NIL has flattened everything out. Anybody can win. And then last year, all 4 number 1 seeds make it. Like, Cinderella's dead. The little guy's never going to win again. And I always hear this, this live by the 3, die by the 3 thing. And it's like, what? Nobody ever says live by the layup, die by the layup. You either make the shot or you don't. The analytics are right for a reason. But like Arizona this year is an example. Like, they're not only really big, but they play inside out, and they only take 17, 18 threes a game. That's one of the lowest rates in the country. And people are criticizing them for that now. So, like, what do you guys want? You want all threes? You want all layups? Like, what is it? But I don't know. This stuff makes me laugh.
Well, what's interesting about the analytics is people don't realize that analytics change. Numbers change because the more other coaches see the analytics, that's what you design your defense to stop. And then the analytics change and you move it around. You're like, okay, now this is the most efficient way to go about business. And it's fascinating. The NBA is a little bit different. It's been 3 in layups for a little while now, but where's college basketball at right now in, like, their efficiency model? And what do you see coaches trying to go after? Always. I mean, look, it's always talent. Just give me the most talent and I'll make it work. But where's college basketball at right now?
I think it's similar to the NBA. It's the same model. Everybody's trying to get shots at the rim, open threes, especially corner threes if you can, because that's the most efficient 3. And then trying to get to the foul line. So it sometimes, paint touches are different. They can come in different ways. They can come off penetration. They can come off the pass. They can come off post-ups. So there are some teams like Alabama that are going to have an open middle and they're going to drive it, force help. Kansas does that, and then they're going to kick it out and then either drive it again, shoot a 3, whatever. But, look, I think most coaches would agree that if you had the perfect analytical game, you'd get fouled on every possession. Yeah. Because the free throw line is still the most efficient place on the floor to score. But now there's more emphasis, and that was to your early point, I think, about size is protecting the rim. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna try to get shots at the rim, you got to try to stop shots at the rim. And one of the ways you do that is by having efficient shot blockers. And they got to play. It's not like football where you can sub after every play. They got to play both ends. So it's just a question whether you're going to emphasize the rim protection. But college is great in my view. It's obviously different from the NBA, but you got 360 teams. They're not all going to be able to play the same because
Yeah.
teams have different resources. In the NBA, with 30 teams, you're going to see probably more similarities among 30 than you are among 360.
Yeah, that's mine. Look, we could talk philosophically. I want to get to the tourney, but I love talking philosophical basketball. That's my issue with the NBA right now, and baseball before they changed the rules. That I thought efficiency came at the expense of entertainment. I thought the entertainment kind of took a back seat to being efficient. But if I'm running a team, I don't give a shit about entertainment. I want to win. I want to keep my job. I want to keep the checks coming in. I want a chance to win a championship. Where you at? You call NBA games now. Where you at with the efficiency model where everyone's trying to kind of do the same thing and get the same results? Whereas when you and I played, every portion of the court was used. Low post was used. Mid range was used. Even deep was used. Not as deep as today, but it seems like we're missing like a whole portion of the court in the NBA. Coaches are saying, no, don't do that. That's not efficient enough. I just feel like I feel like we got a fish. We've caught a fish, and we're only eating about a third of it and throwing away like some really good fish, but that fish isn't efficient. How do you feel about the NBA kind of wasting a third of the offensive court in search of efficiency?
I don't know that I see it that they're wasting it. It's just it's happening in different ways. Like we see more instead of having a straight post up where you have a big guy that runs to the free throw line and then the two big guys get in a fist fight to get position on the low block, and you throw it into Kareem or Moses Malone or something on one block or the other. Now you're seeing guys back you down, and they still may get the shot from the same place, but they're not starting necessarily from the same place. And so the spread floor thing is happening. I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan, and, I loved the game back when I didn't know any better, but I love it just as much now where, like Earl Weaver with the Baltimore Orioles used to be walk, hit,
That's
3-run
right.
homer. And now, it seems like it's either a strikeout or a home run for a hitter. I don't think that's all true, but teams are going to do what it takes to win. And if Shaq was in college right now, you'd have teams drafting him saying, all right, we're putting this dude on the low post. We're changing the way we play to take advantage of this freak here. I don't know the right answer. All I know is like any game in the NBA when two of the worst teams are playing against each other is going to suck. They sucked when we played, and they suck now. But when you watch the best teams play, I don't care how they play, it's compelling because these guys are so freaking good. It's just, maybe guys that played when we did wouldn't be as valuable now. There aren't as many like power forwards like Mason and Oakley or guys like that.
Yeah, exactly. Lonnie Shelton.
Yeah, but you see if you agree with this. Like, let's just take college. Like when we were younger, and you're a couple years younger than me, but like I think guys our age look back and go, man, Georgetown in the 80s, those dudes, it was so physical. And I'm like, whoa. Go back and look at those tapes. Like it was still the guards were 5 feet away from each other guarding the ball, and traps weren't shoulder to shoulder in the cylinder like all over people. Those were fouls, and they were called. The reason we thought it was ultra physical because there were no flagrant fouls back then. So when somebody went to the basket, you put them in the wood, it started a fight.
Yeah.
Now there are flagrant fouls, and there's a penalty for the player and for the team if you do that crap. So that's been eliminated. But general play, like bumping cutters and all that stuff in college, is more physical than it's ever been. Like I think the game's more physical now. And honestly, I don't remember when you were playing for Lute Olson, but I can tell you this: I went 4 years of college. I don't think I ever guarded a ball screen. Nobody ran them back then. Everybody ran motion or flex
Yeah,
or stuff like that. So now these big guys in college, they got to guard multiple ball screens and Spain action and all these different things. They're all over the floor. All I had to do, and I don't want to diminish what we did, but I had to get back and I met my guy, my assignment at the foul line and tried to keep him off the block. And that was pretty much it. I didn't have to guard ball screens. And so like when guys our age complain about, oh, these big guys, they don't do this, they don't do that. I'm glad they do way more than they have to. Like, I'm not saying we couldn't have done it, but we didn't have to do it back then.
We weren't asked to do it.
We weren't asked to do it. The offenses didn't work that way back then. Now they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently, if you ask my teammates at Arizona, they'd say I didn't guard anything, whether it was a ball screen or not. So, yeah. I mean, it's just, I was like, what'd you want me to do? I'll score them for you. I mean, if I can defend too, we're crying out loud.
But isn't it, this is true. Like, this is true of you and it's true of me. If we were open and didn't get the ball, it's amazing how many times on a backcourt screen I forgot to get up there and call it out.
Exactly. I love hearing the spine rattle. Didn't matter if it was my teammates or not. Where are you on? Because I've had this discussion before, and this will be the last one before we actually get into the tourney a little bit. Players today being better than I got so tired of the argument. Who's better, players today or players of the 70s, players of the 80s, the great players? And I always tell people, look, today's players are better. But if you think you can just compare the players of today versus the players of the 70s, 80s, 60s, without taking into account the knowledge they have today, the fact they work out more efficiency today, the fact that they don't have to have other jobs today, the fact that they know what to put in their bodies today, I go, if you're going to take Connie Hawkins and give him all the knowledge these players have today, then yeah, I'd say Connie Hawkins could play today. If you take Kevin Durant and put him back in the 60s and take away the weight training, take away the knowledge, take away the individual skill work, take away the coaches that coach him every single day, he's not going to be as good as he was today. I go, it's a ridiculous argument to think you can just take a player of some era and move him 40 years and drop him into that era and compare him to that player. Of course, the players aren't going to be as good. So I just think you have to take that into consideration. I guess what I'm trying to say is great players translate. Great players of that era could play today. Great players of this era could play. Greatness travels is what I'm saying, I guess.
I think that's right. And I think so. I agree with everything you just said about comparing the players of yesteryear to today. And somehow today's players generally are better, but they're better because of all the reasons you stated. And but by the same token, there are guys our age that think, well, some of these guys couldn't have played when we did because of this, this, and this. You're like, come on, man. Like, you think Steph Curry couldn't have played in the 90s? Yeah. And like, I know, our friend Steve Kerr pushes back on that. Like when people say that, he'll go, hey, I played in the 90s. Steve played in the 90s. Like, so Steph couldn't do it? Like, come on, man. Yeah. But one of the things like that I like to point out from time to time is like, I think our generation, and this is true of every generation our age, so 10 years ago, guys that are in their 70s said the same thing we're saying now. We have this nostalgia for the way it used to be, that somehow it was better back in the day. It was different. But what I like to say is if the stopwatch had never been invented, guys our age would say that Mark Spitz swam faster than Michael Phelps. He didn't. And he didn't because the training was different. The pools were different. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. But like the truth is, Michael Phelps lapped the times of Mark Spitz. So what you do is you compare them to their era and recognize greatness. And then you recognize greatness now and try not to diminish. That's why I hate the GOAT argument, like who's better
me too.
between Kareem, because it's diminishing and it's reductive in nature, and you wind up arguing over degrees of awesome. And like Kareem, it always bothers me that Kareem's never in the discussion of the GOAT. And you're going, dude, his was the single greatest weapon in the history of the game. That skyhook was the unstoppable weapon. He won 3 titles in college, and it would have been 4 if they let him play his freshman year. Their freshmen were ineligible, and the stuff he did in the NBA was absurd. If anybody was doing that now, they'd not only have a statue, they'd build buildings in their honor.
Yeah.
He was if not the greatest, one of the 2 or 3 greatest of all time.
No, I totally agree. And look, I always tell people this too, Jay, that every once in a while I'll get off on a tangent because I'm 60 and I grew up in a certain era. And yeah, I may like baseball played a certain way. I may miss the hit and run. I may miss the steals. I may miss the way, but it's still good I still like watching it today. Both things can be equally true. But
Right.
I always say this. I go, look, it's my time on the porch now, okay? You're going to get your time on the porch. It's coming. You may not even want your time on the porch. You're going to get it anyway. Everyone gets their time on the porch, and then they go away. And then someone else gets on the porch, and then that's the way it is. So for the young people out there, give me my fucking time on the porch too. Stop bothering me. God damn it.
And get off my lawn.
And get off my lawn too while you're okay. Who has the in your estimation, who has the best road to the Final Four out of the number 1 seeds?
I would probably say Florida has the best path.
Okay.
But they're not a perfect basketball team because their guards are inconsistent shooters. They've gotten better throughout the course of the season because they're new, so they had to learn the system and all that stuff. I like Arizona to win the whole thing, but the only thing that I'm concerned about Arizona is like they got Wisconsin in their path.
Yeah.
And if Wisconsin wins, as you know, Arizona's got a history with Wisconsin in the tournament. That doesn't necessarily mean much.
Scary.
But they do play a way that could cause Arizona some problems because their big guys can shoot it from the perimeter and play on the perimeter, and their guards are legit, like Nick Boyd and John Blackwell. Both of them get 30 in a given game. So they're the type of team that can give Arizona a problem, but a lot of these games are going to come down, or once you get to the second weekend, a lot of these games are going to come down to 1 or 2 plays. And just like that Arizona-Iowa State game and the Big 12 semi, that was one of the best games I've ever seen.
Great
the shot
game.
making was
Great game.
the shot making was absurd. But
the last
I
4
like
minutes was incredible, Jay.
Unbelievable. They made like 12 out of the last 14 shots, and like those 2 shots Jaden Bradley hit. If he had missed one of those, we would have been talking about those as like the unbelievable defensive performance by Killian Touré. But instead it was, lost because of the amazing shot making that Bradley had. But I like Arizona's chances better than anybody else's.
Yeah, I don't need Arizona, Wisconsin. I don't need any Frank Kaminsky flashbacks. I don't need any of those. I thought the key this year, Jay, to Arizona was Burry's kind of getting it going. It took him a little while to get it going, but man, he's money. That guy can flat out score. He can shoot. They have the size. They have super depth. I like Karchenkov, I believe his name. I love that guy. But Burry's is the guy, like he's the consistent, hey, I can get you a 3, I can get you a bucket. They're going to maul you on the glass. Super big, super physical. Toby Awaka is like a rebounder in sneakers. He just always is a sneaker and that's all he does. I mean, you can't stop him. But I'm with you. I like them a lot. If Burry's can hit shots and Bradley hits a few, he went through a little bit of a slump toward the end of the season. I don't see any reason why that team, although Arkansas is playing pretty good ball at this point. And A-Cup, I didn't know much about him until a couple months ago. I don't know why they're not talking about that guy in the top 5 because that guy's a stud.
I mean, he'll be in the top 5, but I think he makes a fair case for being considered for number 1 overall. Like he's kind of got a little Damian Lillard and Kyrie in him, and he does stuff that no other player. He's the only player in the tournament. I get this question a lot, like from media, like who's the player that can put his team on his back and carry him to a championship like Danny Manning did in '88 or something? And I'm like, he's the one. Of anybody this year, he's the one that can do it. Arkansas is not a perfect team, but they're uber talented and they can really score. And they were awesome in the SEC tournament. I was mesmerized by Acuff.
You had to pick 88. You had just 88. You had to. God damn. Do you still think about I mean, I still can't get away from that. Like I ran into Stacey King a couple days ago. Warriors playing the Bulls. He was calling the game. That's the first thing I thought of. Stacey King. I mean, I shouldn't have thought of that. That's 40 years ago almost. I thought of that Final Four game. I still, for whatever reason, I cannot get away from it. Every time March Madness comes around, I still think about that game, and it still is like, I don't know why athletes can't just enjoy their successes. We always go back to the tough losses, the bad beats, the bad pass you threw, the missed shot you missed. I've tried to figure that out forever, Jay. Why athletes, especially the ones that are like that played at high college or pros, they always remember the bad things more than they remember the good things.
Well, especially when it's a Final Four or a championship game loss. Like we lost in the title game in '86 when we were the number one team, and we had set a record for wins in a season, and then we get clipped by a bucket by Louisville in the championship game. And I don't know if you remember this, but right after that, Hoosiers came out. And I went to, back then you actually went to the movies, so I was sitting in a theater with a friend of mine watching the movie. And at the end of the movie, when the guy says, "I'll make it," and then hits the shot and they're running around, jumping around, the music's playing. I mean, I don't mind admitting this. I don't cry in movies, but I actually teared up in that. Not because of, Hickory High School wins the championship.
Jimmy Chitwood.
Yeah, Jimmy Chitwood. I was like, that should have been us. And even 40 years later, it still frosts me that we didn't win that game. But I'm not bothered by a second round loss that we had the year before. It was being that close for something that's only a once in a lifetime deal, and you lose when you feel like you should have won. That's a tough one to get over.
Yeah, and going into the locker room, I mean, I cried for 5 minutes. Like, I don't know if you felt the same way, looking around, because you were a senior, I was a senior when we lost, just looking around the locker room, knowing this is the last time I'm going to get to go to battle with this team. Like, no more practices, no more games, no more bonding, no more fun experiences on the basketball court. It kind of all comes and it hits you. And you could get through it if you win. But when you lose, boy, that was a tough locker room to be a part of.
Yeah, the same with us. And there's a finality to it that is hard to describe to people. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade it. My life wouldn't have been any different if we had won. But there's just something like, and every year when somebody wins, every year somebody wins and loses in the title game, and I'm always there for the last 30 years or so. I've gone to the Final Four. But I have a distinct feeling of empathy for the loser of the game, that, you're that close. And in our year, this one is a weird one. So our year, we had set a record for wins, I think I mentioned. And on the Sunday in between the semi and the final, all these articles were written in newspapers on where did our team fit in with the greatest teams of all time. And then we wind up getting clipped in the title game, kind of like USC Texas in football. And that was never discussed again. You never brought out, like, you finish second and you're totally forgotten. And maybe that's the way it should be, but that hits you pretty hard.
Yeah. My favorite story was after we lost to Oklahoma. The next day, somebody came up. I forget if it was a team manager or not, or maybe one of the assistants. I can't remember. They said, "Hey, they just wanted to let you guys know they have extra tickets if you want to go to the championship game." And I go, "If you don't fucking get out of here right now, I'm going to punch you right in the fucking forehead." I go, "Are you kidding me? I'm going to sit there and watch the champion?" I go, "Leave, please, kindly leave now before I kill you." Can you imagine going and watching?
I got one for you too. So we lose Monday night in Dallas for the title. And the next morning, we get up to pack our stuff up and we're going to the bus, and we get in the elevator, and just like with you, the hotel you're in, there are all these Duke fans with you. and maybe trustees, all these Duke people. We get in the elevator and it's quiet because it's so early in the morning to leave, and there are a couple Duke people in there. And once we hit the button for lobby, one of them kind of shakes his head and he goes, "Man, you guys will never know how tough it was to lose that game last night." And I didn't say anything, but I'm looking at this guy. Hey, you clown. Like, you think I don't know how tough it was to lose that game? Like, you get to be a fan every year. Like, that was my last shot at this. You don't think I understand how tough it was? Like, really? But I didn't say anything.
That's rough. That I think that topped me. All right. Hardest path for a number 1 seed.
Probably Duke, because of, but it's not their individual path. I'm not sure is as bad as I thought when I first saw the bracket, because you were looking at the top 8 seeds going, man, that thing's loaded. But the bottom half of the bracket, all those teams are going to beat each other, and only one's coming out of there. So maybe it's not as bad as I thought. But they've got a couple injuries they're dealing with. They had 2 starters that didn't play in the ACC tournament, and if they're not 100%, like, I don't know even if Caleb Foster's going to play. But their big guy, Patrick Gungba, if he plays, that puts them in pretty good shape. And Michigan doesn't have the easiest path either, but they're so good. I mean, Iowa State's going to be their biggest challenge if they get to the Elite 8. All of them, none of them have it easy, but Duke's got a particularly tough one, I think.
Is there a seed 4 or higher that has caught your eye?
Yeah, I think we already talked about Wisconsin. They're a 5 in the West. Yep. I think Vanderbilt is a 5 in the South is pretty compelling. I'm not sure. Alabama took a hit with that one player, Aiden Holloway, who got arrested the other day, and he'll. I can't imagine there's a scenario where he plays. But like, there are some outside of the 3 seed that I think are good. Like, I think Arkansas could do something special because they're so talented. They're not great defensively, but they're not bad at all. But that's one of the beauties of this thing, is somebody's going to do it when we're going, okay, they haven't been consistent. Like, that's why these top seeds, it's not like they're invincible. They're just incredibly consistent. And some of the teams that are inconsistent, if they put it together for a 3-week stretch, Arkansas can play in a given game as well as anybody. They can beat anybody. But I don't think the top seeds this year, the 4 number 1 seeds, are as powerful against the field as the number 1s were last year. It doesn't mean they're not capable of winning it, but last year there was a separation that I don't see this year.
I got to ask you about my good friend Randy Bennett's team, who takes on the Texas A&M Aggies. I don't know much about the Aggies. I've seen them play once. This seems to be a game where pace is going to be really, really important. Although St. Mary's plays a little faster than they have in the past couple of years. How do you see this one playing out?
I think you're right. So Texas A&M is coached by a guy named Bucky McMillan, and he was at Samford University before this, and they called it Bucky ball, the way they played. And before Samford, he was a high school coach in Birmingham, Alabama, and won a bunch of state titles. They like to press. And so they're gonna try to force turnovers, and that actually is a good thing for St. Mary's to play against, because I think slowing a game down is easier than speeding one up.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to slow down Texas A&M. And if they make it into a half-court game, I favor St. Mary's, because that's like, they're like going to a dentist's office, kind of like playing Virginia when Tony Bennett was there. It's just a rhythm-killing style. And they're actually, like, if Texas A&M wins that's an upset. It's a 7-10, and Texas A&M is a 10. You always feel like St. Mary's is the underdog, and they're not in this one. But they're physical. They've got size, and Mikey Lewis, really good player. They can shoot it. It's kind of like Gonzaga and St. Mary's aren't like they used to be back in the 90s, where, they had to have a bunch of guards that could really shoot it, and they played a different style. Like, now they're big and strong, and they're like any power conference team. So I kind of favor St. Mary's there.
Got it. Off the bracket, I wanted to ask you about NIL. It seems to have made the game better. Like, guys are staying a little bit longer. Has it? Okay, go expand on that a little bit, because I don't watch a ton. I watch some during the NBA season, so I'm balancing it. But when I watch this year, I'm like, this has been a fun year. It's been a fun year and some really good games to watch.
The quality of play is better than it's been in a long time. And it may be approaching all-time best levels. And you're right. Like, so what's happening now is players that are maybe fringe first round picks or second round picks are going, why would I go into the NBA when I'm getting paid a bunch here
Yeah.
and I can work on my game, I can be more mature and all that when I get to the NBA and still bank some money and put the money away. And guys are doing really interesting things with their money. Like there's a player, Seth Trimble at North Carolina, that hit that shot to beat Duke in February at Carolina. You know, he took his NIL money. He bought a Ben and Jerry's franchise. He's an owner operator of Ben and Jerry's while he's in college. So a lot of these guys are really smart with their money and creating wealth for themselves. And I think it's a really good thing. The thing that's making people uncomfortable with the way the game is mostly, look, it's mostly pearl clutching old people like us. Yeah. But it's the transfer portal, which was the NCAA's creation. So people want to say, well, nobody's loyal anymore. They jump from team to team. And I think this is crap, but they say the first sign of adversity, they're out of there. And which I don't think is true. What the thing I really like, Tom, about the transfer portal is a guy like let me think of it, like Dalton Connect he was at Northern Colorado. Undervalued out of high school, under recruited, maybe, you know, a late bloomer, whatever you want to say. Is he required to stay at Northern Colorado his whole career? You know, even being an under recruited player, he transferred to a higher level. Everybody knows his name, and then he's a first round draft pick. I think that's a good thing. It changes things. There aren't as many high school players being recruited by the big shots because if you can get an older player that's experienced, you take them. But to me, it's all a good thing.
Yeah. Can we split it? Let me ask you about this, because this is what I've said. One free transfer, then the second one you got to sit out unless the coach leaves or something happens. Then you get it. I don't know that it serves the kid going from 3 different schools in 3 different years. I think a lot of times, and you tell me you're closer to this than I am, I can envision a scenario where probably not going to go pro, maybe not going to make a lot of money, and his handlers or advisors are thinking, let's get as much money as possible because he gets more money, we get more money. Is there a compromise here somewhere where it's not 3 schools in 3 years, 4 schools in 4 years, or is that just the way it's got to be?
There is a right way to do it and a legal way to do it. Like restricting player transfers is probably going to be seen as anti-competitive practices because no student is told that they can't transfer and participate in whatever extracurricular activity they want to. What I think if we think this is a problem, like the NCAA has always put together solutions in search of a problem. But if we think this is a problem, the answer is collectively bargain with the players or for these kind of restrictions like a salary cap or whatever. But if we don't want to go collective bargaining, then the answer is the NCAA needs to take off restrictions of paying players directly and just say to the schools, like, look, you want Tom Tolbert to stay at Arizona for his entire career, sign him to a multi-year contract where it's your choice and his choice, and you guys reach an agreement, and you could put a buyout in the contract just like they do with coaches, and that way it's a player's choice. Like you may disagree with this, but I don't think somehow that we had this unbelievable loyalty back when we played. I don't think we had choice. Yeah. And the players now have choice. And I don't think I would have gone to 4 schools in 4 years. But, you know, like if you're somewhere, like what are you going to do? Like if you're somewhere and you've put your time in and all of a sudden Duke recruits Cooper Flagg in front of me, like, I don't begrudge them for taking the better player, but damn it, I want to play, so I might go to USC or something. We saw it with Jalen Hurts. Like, what's Jalen Hurts supposed to do at Alabama? He's their starting quarterback, and he's an All-American, and Tua Tagovailoa comes in, and now he's on the bench. He's supposed to stay there. He goes to Oklahoma. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Everybody won. It's not that big of a deal. But if you want him to stay, sign him to a contract. They deserve to get paid.
No, I totally agree with that. I transferred. I went from Irvine to Cerritos Junior College to Arizona. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think there has to be a way to collectively bargain this whole thing, and everyone gets what they want. All right, before we let you go, what's your final four? This is what happens every single year. If I can get Jay on, we're going to do the bracket, and then we just start talking hoops, and this ultimately what happens. So
It shows how uninteresting we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if you want to look at Lehigh out there, you fucking do it yourself, okay? Go look at Lehigh. All right, who do you got in the Final Four in the champion?
I got Florida out of the South. They got a tough one with Houston and Illinois in the bracket. I got Arizona out of the West, and I think they're going to win the whole thing. I picked Michigan State out of the East because of the Duke injuries and the fact that that Michigan State is older and experienced, and there's just something about Izzo that I feel good about this year in that bracket. And then I took Iowa State out of the Midwest. Michigan's got an injury to that backup point guard LJ Kaysen.
Okay.
And he would start for most teams, and I think that's affected them. They're still capable of winning the thing, but this is kind of a flyer bracket because I don't think all 4 number 1 seeds are going to do it again. So I took a few flyers.
You know what's interesting, Jay? Because I wanted to ask you about the kid for Alabama that played for 5 games that ultimately was deemed ineligible, and I started thinking to myself, of course it's ridiculous. You can't play in the NBA and play in the G League and then come back and play. That's absurd. It'd be like Aaron Donald going and playing for Pitt. Like, hey, I want to win a national championship. Can you imagine Aaron Donald playing college football? He'd fucking kill people.
Well, but that's not what happened. But that's not what happened.
I know. I was thinking about that. No. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I kind of defended Alabama on this one. So Charles Bediako was at Alabama.
Yes.
He declared for the draft. I don't think he was drafted, if I remember right, but never played in the NBA, played in the G League. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Bediako, but he's not a difference maker. He's a good player, but that's it. So we've got these guys that are coming over from Europe or international players, and they played professional basketball, but the NCAA deems them eligible because they never went to college. And then you had a guy named James Najee who went into the draft, got drafted number 31 by Detroit, played in the summer league, but he never played in the NBA. He went to Europe and played, and he played at Baylor. Well, Najee, similar, he's not very good. I mean, maybe he'll turn into a good player, but he's not there yet. He averaged like 4 points a game, and people were losing their minds. And this is more pearl clutching on the part of, not you, but on the part of some. So the day that Bediako played in his first game after going to court and getting a temporary restraining order, he scored 12 points against Tennessee in a game that Alabama lost. That same day, 3 freshmen had over 40. Keaton Wagler had 46. Kingston Flemings had 42, and AJ DeBonta had over 40. And all we were talking about was Charles Bediako. I'm like, what are we worried about? Like, nobody's trolling the G League for players because most of them aren't good enough to make a difference in college. And Bediako had played at Alabama. They knew him, and they felt like his situation was not any different than these other players who were deemed eligible. So I kind of felt like it's not like they trolled the G League for the best players. Yeah. They took a guy that they knew that wanted to come back to college and finish his degree and all that. It was actually less, it was less egregious than it looked. But that's why the NCAA kind of needs to figure it. Like, if we, and this is my thing, if we think that college is for young people of a certain age, then let's say it's for undergraduates only and do it that way. But then we're going to get upset. Well, wait a minute. This kid's he's not taking a full load. They're slow playing his graduation. And we're like, what is you got young people in college. And I know what had happened if they did that. Then BYU would say, wait a minute now. We've got players that go on missions and it's faith-based. And now you're punishing people for their faith. And then some player would say, hey, I signed up for the military after high school and I served my country, and now I can't play because I turned 23. There's never been an age limit. There's always been older players, and people getting a twist over, hey, this guy's 25 or whatever. Like, relax.
And look, when I played, Jay, I played against a 27-year-old power forward at Oregon State. He sucked. He was fucking.
Yeah.
I go, there's a reason he's 27 and he's in college. If he was good, he'd be in the NBA making money. What are we worried about?
It's not that big of a deal. Not that big of it. Like, and my thing is, if you don't want those guys, don't recruit them. But what they're really saying is, we don't want to play against them.
Yeah, I did. Basically, they just want to bitch because their life would be miserable if they couldn't bitch. So they bitch.
Right.
That's what you do, brother. It's always fun having you on. Again, we kind of skirted the bracket like we usually do. But always fun talking to you. I enjoy the conversation. Maybe we can do it again around NBA playoff time.
You tell me when. I'm in.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it, brother.
All right, my friend. Good being with you.
Have a good one. Thank you so much,
you
Jay.
too.
I appreciate it.
And remember this, Tommy T, cash and tickets is what it's all about.